Hello Fetty friends, I'm so happy to be back on the YouTube channel today with a card featuring the Poppies stem set. It is finally back in stock. I've been waiting for this day for a long time because I just love the stem set so much. Today I'm only using the outline image and the coordinating die, but this is a layering stem set. So definitely check it out. It's a really fun layering stem set. You don't have to layer all of the layers perfectly. I definitely am not good at that, so always happy when there are stem sets that don't have to be perfect. So check it out. I will make sure to leave a link in the description below. You can do lots of fun things with this. Now, I needed to stamp this image a couple of times, and I also wanted to die cut it all of the times. So I figured I would die cut it first, also save one of the negative spaces, put some purple tape on the back of that, so I can just put in all of the die cuts and stamp them with my Misti in the same spot every time. It just works like a charm. It's a trick from Jennifer McGuire. It's really easy to do. It's a lot easier than lining up that die, that coordinating die 7 different times. I'm stamping in Versafine Onyx Black, and I will be heat embossing these. And I have another trick for that as well, because when you have this trick with die cutting it first, it's harder to heat emboss. Just adhere them onto a strip of extra cardstock and then sprinkle on the embossing powder and heat set them then. Now, I had to be a little bit creative in this part because I realized I ran out of my temporary adhesive that I have like a roller to use as temporary adhesive, and I ran out of that, so just folded over some purple tape, which isn't perfect for this technique, but it worked out this time. I am again adhering these to some pieces of tape, which also helps with coloring them when they're already die cut, especially when you use some wet techniques. I am using some watercolor powders. These are by Lindy's gang, so just sprinkle them on and then spritz them with water. And as you can see, in one bottle, there are actually multiple different colors. So the overall color is the color that is on the bottle. But there are so many different colors and interesting things happening here. They also include some shimmers. So it's really, really fun to work with these, and really quick as well, obviously, because you just sprinkle it on and no coloring is actually happening. Now for the leaves, I am going to actually use these as paints. So I will just sprinkle some green off to the side, spritz some water onto it, and then color with it. Super easy, super quick to do, and it creates such a vibrant effect. Now, I have to admit, these are all of the colors that I have in these, and if I were to make this card again, I would have probably mixed in some of that darker blue with the green to tone it down a little bit, because that green is almost fluorescent. But I like the overall effect of the card. It's very bright, but it works out for this design. So even if you work with these powders, know that you can mix them together, even if there are multiple shades in each bottle. Don't be afraid of that. I was just a little bit lazy today. For my background, I used the All Lined Up panel by Reverse Confetti, and I actually glued 3 of those die cuts together to add some dimension to it. Then I can add that to a card base, and it's going to just be white on white, but because of the added dimension of those layered die cuts, it's really going to stand out beautifully and create a really intricate but still subtle background because it's just white on white. I am going to add some splatter on this because I just like splatter, especially black splatter on a rainbow card for some reason. Especially because I am going to add some black in this design as well. I was planning to put a black sentiment strip in there, so it's fun to have that black return in the background just in the form of some splatter. Now you can see I arranged these die cuts, or these images, in just an arch, a simple arch on my card panel, and I'm just gluing them to the card. Normally I would use some foam adhesive or something, but because these are overlapping everywhere and I was also going to add another die cut on top of it, I figured I'd just glue them down and not add any more dimension to them. But they're still going to look very dimensional because I'm only gluing the flowers down, so just the circles. The leaves are flaring up, so they're not stuck down. They're flaring up a little bit, and that creates a look of dimension without adding any bulk. It will flatten out in an envelope, but probably spring back up by the time they reach the recipient. Now I have this layered U die set, also by Reverse Confetti, and I actually die cut a holographic layer to put behind it, but it was too big. It was covering up too many of my flowers, so I just used the white die cut. And I did add it a little bit lower than I was planning on to make that white stand out on top of the flowers instead of just having it sit on a white background. Again, that's layered up. I love layering my dies or my die cuts to add some dimension. And for this sentiment strip, I'm using one of the beautiful sentiments from this Poppies stem set. It has gorgeous sentiments in this. This says, "You are a gift to me," which is so unique and so fun. So I just die cut that out with a sentiment strip die. You can just trim it out with a paper trimmer as well. And I am actually backing this with a tiny strip of cardboard. You can use foam tape as well. I just find this easier to do. I have a bunch of this cardboard on hand pre-cut. So yeah, just figuring out how to place it, and then I can glue it down with some liquid adhesive on top of that U. So this is a very dimensional card, but that's just how I like it. And because I make my envelopes myself, it's still going to fit perfectly in an envelope. You can make your envelopes a little bit bigger if you make them yourself and you make bulky cards like I do, or if you like your elements hanging off over the edges of the card like I did here. I just folded a white envelope with my We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and I'm just repeating that stripe detail that we have in the background with some gray ink. I'm just blending that on with a stencil, but you don't have to use a stencil. You can actually die cut that panel one more time and use that as a stencil. This stencil was still sitting on my desk from a previous project, so I just used this. But if I hadn't had this, die cutting that panel again would have been perfect as well. So that's it, a really quick card with the lovely Poppies stem set that is back in stock at the Reverse Confetti store. I hope you check it out. I will leave a link to the Poppies stem set definitely in the description below. And if I remember to do it, I'll link all of the products I used today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you enjoyed the card. Make sure you subscribe to the Reverse Confetti YouTube channel if you haven't already, because I am back every week with more videos, and I will be back next week with a lot of videos if I have the timeline figured out correctly. Yeah, it should be next week. I should be back with lots of new videos for the new release, so definitely check that out as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.